Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I have what is the second video in the How I Play series, and it's going to be how I play the Bayern. One of the comments on my review was that it really wasn't as good a ship as I made it seem to believe, and I respect that opinion, and I'm going to try to just share one of my playing experiences live and what I'm thinking so that maybe a few of you who are struggling with this ship and its rather poor dispersion can get some better results and more in line with what I've been feeling. One of the hard things about doing reviews of any of the ships is it's always going to be opinion. You know, there are a lot of people who didn't like the Dunkirk. I personally really like it. That doesn't make them wrong or me right. It just, they're differing opinions, and that's why I think it's always good to, you know, have a couple sources of information on any of the view, and I try to state, you know, at the beginning of those premium reviews that, like, this is just how I feel about the ship. It, you know, everyone's mileage may vary. So, as you can see, Tier 8 game, those North Carolinas and the Tier 7s kind of scare me. Now, the Scharnhorst doesn't much, because my armor's going to be reliable against them. The Gneisenau has the same 380s that the Bayern has, only 6 of them, but their gun handling stats are much better. I also noticed Two Brothers has changed a bit. They've really pared down this chunk of land here and these islands over here so that people can't just cower and, you know, particularly the DDs that would go and sit either side of this little point of land and just throw torpedoes across the point there. So looking around me, I've got a North Carolina that's coming with me, though they might be about to run aground. Okay, no, they're gonna miss. But I don't really want to be the spearhead, particularly not at being a Tier 6 in a Tier 8 game. So I'm gonna slow up behind this island, come down to quarter speed. I don't ever really like stopping completely because it takes away your rudder. And first target, Cleveland. Led them a little too much, but they're still looking good. And dispersion bites me in the ass. But nothing new there, and honestly that it doesn't hurt very much. Still at long range, these are kind of speculative shots. It's another reason I never really boost the range of any of the other ships out, because for me, long range isn't the game I play. I want to get in, you know, 10, 11k and just start wrecking things. So far we can see the Gneisenau coming in. There was another BB in the back. I believe it was their Scharnhorst. So none of those are things that scare me, and okay, it was New Mexico, not their Scharnhorst. So try to help finish this DD off, put a couple shells in the air, and I'm going to turn in and really try to start putting pressure on the Gneisenau, and I managed to hit the DD. Only 567 damage, but wasn't, you know, I try not to worry as much in World of Warships about the whole kill steal concept. I fire at things when I have shells ready, because you just can't let another volley come out. So now this Gneisenau is basically sitting still there behind that little edge of land, and he's really well angled, so I don't expect too much from those shells. Get a nice 7,000, and I'm just going to continue to push in. I've got a pair of DDs with me, so for him to try to get into torp range is suicide. And that's one of those things that you kind of have to be able to read is, you know, particularly against higher tier Germans that have the torpedoes, is what situations you can push in and reliably know you're not going to eat the torps. Got my secondaries already locked on to that Ognavoy, and you can hear them firing away at both the Ognavoy and the Gneisenau. And it's one of the things I like about this ship is the really solid secondary performance. Anyone who's watched all my other videos tends to know I do a secondary build on my battleships. And to have that kind of performance low down at tier 6 is very enjoyable. So we've got a friendly smoke here, and I'm going to slow down so I don't go ripping through it, but at the same time I can't afford to stop and do it because that Ognavoy could have put torps in the water and he would have been in range at first. So I want to just hold off on getting inside that 4-kilometer torp range that he will wreck me if I touch those. So it looks like they weren't fired, so I'm going to slow up inside this smoke, and I'm hoping my battleship over here, this DD, respot that Bayern on the enemy team, because he looked to be more or less side on, and I think would be a great target. Yeah, there he is. 7, and rounds in the air, a little farther back than maybe I wanted, but they're still looking good. 5 grand, I'll take it. And by now this smoke, you can see, it just dissipated right there. Engine's already ahead, getting me moving because you don't want to be a sitting duck. And at this point, I'm just going to go full speed the entire way until I manage to close that enemy Bayern. And I'm going to use my front turrets to shoot at the Nice Now, and then my rears to shoot at the Bayern. And the reason is I don't want this Nice Now to do exactly what he's doing now, where he's recovering health and getting away.
Attention, reporting a target position.
I'm not really sure why our Nice Now has turned around here. I really thought we were pushing the advantage. We've got them on the run. Maybe it's because he sees that our base has been overrun, but really our teams are balanced, so there's a lot back there defending, so I don't entirely feel that it's a necessity to go back just this moment. And you can see I'm aiming a little high on this Bayern. I'm hoping to hit that kind of second belt to get penetrations over just bouncing. And with them putting so much pressure on our base, and oh shoot. What's our North Carolina's doing well. New Mexico, okay, we've got some good high health battleships in there. I'm not as concerned. I think putting some pressure on them is going to matter right now. So next one's going to be out at this Nice Now. I really want to finish them off. Lead by about 7 or 8 there. Shells are looking good. Nice hearty 5,000 hit. That's kind of how I feel the Bayern has always played for me, is I'm never getting massive damage, but I tend to tank things pretty well, and I'm able to just consistently keep firing and rack up 5-6k a volley, and normally end with very respectable games. See this enemy Bayern turning, so I'm going to fire at her because she's about to give me her broadside, and another 4 grand there. Got secondaries firing at that New Mexico, and this is not a spot I want to be in. Luckily the New Mexico's not looking at me. I'm going to wait for these shells to hit, and now I'm coming hard over. I'm actually going to engage the New Mexico. I don't want to allow ships to be on either side of me, so by coming around to engage the New Mexico, I put the Bayern at my stern, and I'm able to hopefully eliminate one of my targets. First one's a little high, aim a little bit lower. Solid 10 grand out of that second volley, and there is the New Mexico finished. So I'm going to keep my stern to this Bayern angled, and I'm going to engage the Gneisenau now. You can see I'm pretty alone. I do have a Cleveland, and I think that's going to be a big part of what helps carry me through this. And that Scharnhorst looks to be slowing up a lot, and I think it's because they're afraid of potential torpedoes in the water. Gneisenau's coming about, probably putting torps in at that smoke screen. It looks like, yeah, they're definitely within torp range, and shoot. I was really hoping he would continue that turnaround, but he doesn't, and I don't really have a good shot at him, so I'm going to try and finish off this Ognavoy. All I really need is one good shell. Get him. Awesome. And you can see how I fought there. I spread out my fire, and I'm really, with a DD running at high speed like that, I find it's not worth putting all your rounds in one spot, so I kind of do a moving volley, hopefully getting a good chunk of damage. And now we've got this Gneisenau turning, giving me his side. Hopefully I can get some good damage in on him, and I do. A nice almost 10k, but our base is collapsing, and that's really disappointing. I think we almost got their Atago there. I am going to start to turn and round that way. If I can finish this Gneisenau in a retreating engagement and kind of start closing back to base, I've opened their Bayern. He's really no longer an issue for me, except the longest range fire, and that's not as concerning to me. And it's just this Gneisenau I have to deal with. And it looks like their enemy Scharnhorst has left our base, and I'm going to go up and just try to regroup while engaging this Gneisenau, and honestly, I'm going to switch to HE. And the reason I'm switching to HE here is he's more or less nose on, but as he continues to close me, he's going to enter my secondary range, and lighting a couple fires here could be very crucial. You can see I still have 3 repair parties left, take no damage from that. And I just don't like how our team's spread out. I had support with me for a good chunk of time there, so I kept pushing, and I pushed a little too far, and I've ended up alone against a higher tier opponent. And you can see secondaries starting to open up. I light a fire with my primaries, so he either lets that burn or puts it out. If he puts it out, which he has, about 15 seconds, so by the time these guns are ready to go again, I can fire again, and a fire is going to stick. So I'm coming around. I know he's fired both his front turrets. Put the front shells into him. Hopefully get a fire. Nope. Put the rear shells in. And I'm going to use this island to break up my contact with him a bit. Rear shells trolled me quite a bit there, both going long. See, incoming fire again. Once again, fires AP. Only take 1,000 damage. And that's really where you have to be careful. And I'm actually going to slow up here. And the reason I'm slowing up is I want him to get more and more into my secondary range. There's that fire I've wanted. And that one's going to stick for at least a little bit. So I've probably finished this guy off. There he goes. And he actually, you can see he slowed down to try to open from me. He realized he was driving into secondary fire and getting into trouble. So, I'm going to put my turrets back to starboard and start to press into the enemy base with just that enemy Bayern left. And while I'm at it, switch back to AP. No sense having HE as my preload. And my friendly team is pushing down from the other side. We've got a good points lead despite the fact that they were sitting in our base for quite some time just because of our lead in kills. Guns are over to starboard now, and enemy battleship gets spotted pretty much exactly where I had last seen him. I think he was last actually spotted right there.
Hang in there. Help is on the way. 5 minutes.
I'm going to use one of my repair parties because of the cooldown and the fact that I've got 3 left. So looking 9.34, probably by about 10. Ah, those are way overled. Well, maybe not. Get a penetration, but no damage. So load it up again. A little less lead this time. And I want to get back into sub 10k, because outside of 10k, these guns aren't very reliable. Like, you can take the shots, and when they do get hits, you're going to get some really solid damage. But it's not until you close inside of 10 kilometers, get into brawling range, that I really feel this ship starts to shine, and maybe it's something I missed in my original review. For me, it's just kind of naturally how I play all my battleships, but I know a lot who try to stand off and shoot, and you just unfortunately can't do that with the Bayern. So there we go. Good chunk of damage there, and he's pretty much settling in. And you can see once again, I'm aiming for that band of his ship just above the main armor belt for that exact reason. Penetrations over citadels. I'd rather get, a healthy penetration for 7 or 8k damage than go for citadels that I'm just never going to see. Oh, and I'm so close. I'm hoping I can fire one more volley before he gets taken out. Not gonna happen. Just shy of 100,000 damage. So there you go. That was just straight up loaded into a game in my Bayern and just played through it. And I thought I had a really effective game. 283,000 credits, 6,800 experience. Now, I am running my ranked camo and equal speed Charlie London and all those flags because I want to get to the Gneisenau or Gneisenau. I've heard both ways of pronouncing it, and I'm not entirely sure which one is correct as I don't speak German. 99,000 damage from 66 shells, 3 kills, 2 fires, and look at all that secondary work. And wasn't top of the team, but 1,529 base experience is still a very respectable number, especially considering I was bottom tier and was really, having to be a little more cautious. If I was top tier, I would have been a lot more aggressive on that side, but you can't do that when you're the small ship. You have to just stay alive, keep your guns firing, and eventually the damage does start to add up. Now, as far as comparisons go, there's the tier 7, and I did 50,000 damage to him. I do not think he did even a quarter of that to me. Most of my damage came courtesy of that enemy Bayern when I gave him my side as I was turning around. But another 29,000 to that Bayern, 17,000 to the New Mexico, and little amounts to those DDs that I just needed to erase off the map. And you can see the division of my damage. Most of it, 83,000, was from AP, but as mentioned in the game, when he was just sitting nose on there, firing AP endlessly, not a good decision, so I switched to HE, got a fire, he put it out, and another volley later got another fire, and the fire ended up doing as much damage as the actual shells. Or almost. And as far as walking away with, I took 210,000 credits back to the port, and 8,000 experience on a commander who just rolled over, it looks like, getting another skill point, 6,800 experience on the hull, so I think I'm about 1 game away now from being done this and into the Gneisenau, and I think it may be a tier 6 I keep, though I'm not 100% decided, because I already have the Warspite, the Fuso, and the Dunkirk at tier 6. I'm not sure I need another tier 6 battleship to run. especially considering I also have the Scharnhorst and Tirpitz for American premiums. So we'll see. But I hope this video kind of maybe helped with the strategy in this ship. Its armor I find is very effective, its secondaries can do a lot of work, and while its guns may not have the best dispersion, it's equal to the Fuso, and yes, the Fuso's guns are longer range, so the Bayern's a little worse, but this ship can get in there and brawl, unlike the Fuso. And to me, it really feels a lot like a faster Warspite. And, you know, same caliber of guns, similar dispersions, even similar armor. The Bayern, for me, I just have a lot of fun in and consistently have games like this, you know, 70 to 100,000 damage, and I feel I'm able to contribute every game in the ship because the armor keeps me in it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down, and maybe I'll take that as a sign that this isn't the kind of thing you guys want to see. If you're new here, I would love the subscription. My goal is to get to 100, and once I get to 100, I'm going to do something special for the subscribers, some sort of giveaway to just thank everyone for supporting my channel. And as always, I'll have another one for you guys tomorrow.